Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's webinar on PlansXpress, the new features that we've just released, including new roof lights and steel tools. Just going to start off with a blank canvas today. I'm going to go new from template. I'm going to start off with a bit of a smaller picture, just A3 1 to 50. There we go. I'm going to quickly draw up a small extension for you, and I'm going to be using the new tools as I go along. If you've got anything in particular you want to ask, please ask away in the questions box. If there's anything relevant as I go through, I'll answer them there and then. Otherwise, they'll get answered in the Q&A session at the end. Okie dokie, so just rather quickly, I'm just going to put in some additional floor walls. Reason I'm doing this, and I'm going to pop them in, say about 2.6, is because I'm going to treat these as existing. And as they are existing, I don't really need foundations on them. So I'm just going to pop that along there. So just come out 3 meters that way, down 7. I'm just going to quickly use my shortcut key on the S to square that off. Nothing particularly fancy, just a box. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go to my modify and selection and set this as non-estimated. Just confirm that there quickly. There we go. So I've got some non-estimated walls to start working with. So next step, quickly pop some standard ground floor cavity walls on there. Single story, 2.4. I'm going to leave my dimensions as they are. I'm going to place this on the wall. So I'm just going to start relative by holding the R key of that corner, press down, and do 50 centimeters away from that wall edge and start coming this way. I'm going to come out 5 meters. I'm going to go down 6 meters by pressing the down arrow and typing 6,000. And on the final return, I'm just going to press F7 on my keyboard to bring the snapping back so I can snap perpendicular. There we go. Refresh that to tie that in nicely. And one thing I'm going to do as well, because it's an extension, I'm just going to highlight this, and I'm going to use the mouse menu to set these walls to not tee in. Now, one thing that may differ for you is that the middle mouse button and the right mouse button can be used for the same thing, depending on how you've got your software set up. Currently, my mouse is set to middle mouse button, but in a moment I'll show you how to switch that to the right click, as that's my preferred method. But now I've highlighted this, I've middle mouse click to bring up the menu, and I'm going to select Don't Tee In. There we go. That means now if I can apply tools such as the wall starters quite cleanly. Go to my settings, switch mouse buttons, select alternative, click OK. There we go. This means when I click on the wall with my left mouse button, I can right click to bring up the menu. Set that as Don't Tee In. Now we've got our large extension in there. Okay, that's all fair enough. It's just some walls at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to now use the flat roof tool. Now, as I've clicked on the menu for the roofing, you will see that there is some new items appearing. So we've got PVC roof light, aluminium roof light, and Velux skylight. All brand new. All estimatable items in PlansXpress as well, as long as you have the crystal packs active. as they are the key to this, as we are getting those items based on their products. So first thing I'm going to do is give myself something to actually put these roof lights in. I'm going to get myself a typical flat roof. Got 200 all round. Just pop that on. There we go. Do a bit of a tidier job on this. As a note, if you do have a roof line selected, you can mouse click on it for the menu and select all lines for this roof to bring up all the options to select it. Very useful if you've got roof lines on top of other roof lines. Now, I've got that flat roof on there. I'm not going to do any of the detailing around the outside, such as the what's upstand, fascia barge board and such. I'm going to quickly pop up the 3D preview though, so you can see that this is not a here's one I made earlier moment. And slab there to show texture. So hopefully everyone here, if you've been using the software, you've had a chance to draw some flat roofs at one point or another. Nice and straightforward to go on. Next up, we're going to use some of the new tools. So under the roof menu, I'm going to go to my PVCU roof light, and I'm going to go to choose roof light. Now you may have seen this popping up in some previous workbooks, notably the crystal windows themselves and doors, but also the new Velux roof light picker, as we call these. There's a specifier picker, bit interchangeable. So this now allows us to have a larger range of items within the software without bloating out menus. Nice and straightforward, a nice large selection of roof lights to work with different frame colors and glass colors. I'm going to scroll too quickly. And we can set the width here. Now these are locked to these sizes. So if you are estimating something and it's a slightly different size of these, just pick the nearest because you can adjust in Estimator afterwards. But for now, I'm going to pick a width of 1 to 50. I'm not going to select the height because they're all the same, but I'm going to go to length and set this as 1750. Okay, so that's brought my range down a little bit there. Go to frame color and select this as grey because it seems quite fashionable. And I'm going to set this as just neutral glass. There we go. There's my roof light. If you do pick the wrong item, you can just clear the filter with the red cross. Once I've got my roof light selected, I can click Select Roof Light. It will now take me into a familiar dimensions wizard. Now you'll see there the length and width are locked on this now, as it's associated to the item we've just selected. But we can now start selecting, say, are roof light reveals plastered, and are they decorated? We can also allow the time to fix the roof light, so we've got to consider getting it in place and fixing it. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long, so we've got 2 hours allocated there to the gang that get then sent to in Estimator. And then we have an allowance for fixings and sealants for the roof light as well. On the next page, we can set the upstand stud centers, 400s as default, 0.4, and we have the thickness of upstand head and sole plate. So we can now start factoring in these dimensions for constructing the opening that the roof light will sit in. And then we have a time allowed to form opening. So this is whether be it a constructing and opening an existing flat roof, though that might be a lot of structural changes to that roof anyway. It's probably going to have some extra steels or timbers going into that, but also just time to form the cuts around what and just say prop up any timbers that you're cutting and when you're just generally creating the opening for it. Once we've selected that, command window will give us our clue, select flat roof line. So nice and straightforward, come down here, click on a line, and here we have the tool to place. Once I've chosen my location, I can mark this out beforehand. It will ask if I want to rotate this slightly. I'm going to hold shift to keep it at a right angle, and then left click again to place. I now get given options to add trimmers. So do you want to place trimmers, trimmers that are on parallel to the joists? Number of hangers, I can say 2. F7 that to snap, and then I can just run additional trimmers. I can keep doing this as much as I need. Then perpendicular, and then that's done. We can take a quick look at this in the 3D preview. There we go. So have a little look out from underneath because we've got no floors in. Done that on purpose, don't you know? So for many of you that have been using the software for a while, this has been a much requested feature, and we have been working on it for a little while now. It's all about making sure everything comes through correctly and having a wide enough range of symbols to go in. Gonna close that down now. I'm going to go back to my architectural, and I'm going to pop in some extra lights in there as well. I can choose a different size roof light now. Key thing is just selecting the grey and the neutral glass. I'm going to choose style 3 there as well. Just going to pick a roof light, set the defaults, select the roof line, and then place that in there as well. Not going to add any extra trimmers for this one. View this one in 3D. So we do have them in black frames and white frames as well. Just sticking to the grey. I quite like the colour. Got to go back to architectural, and now I'm going to take a look at the Velux skylights. So I'm going to pop to the choose skylight now. As you can see, we've got quite a few in here as well for this. So does the window open? It does not open. It opens with an electric opener of ventilation, or it's an emergency escape exit hatch. So there we can, let's just pick an emergency escape exit hatch. Totally pointless for a little extension, but just to show that we've got it there. Certain buildings require these. Like say if it's going to be a room with no other kind of access in there, you do need some form of escape. If you do decide to put one of these on your outbuilding at the bottom of the garden, when everyone in your family thinks you've disappeared down there to do some work at Christmas, you can escape through your Velux window and go to the pub. They have multiple purposes. Gonna have opaque because it's your working space, you don't want people peeking in. Set our width, say 1 meter by 1 meter. Don't know if I can get out of a 900. Just going to select that now. Again, into our DIMS wizard. Now, this wizard is actually very similar, you may recognize, to the Velux one. Reason for this is it's effectively using the same principle for exclusion of materials, in that it's not really making a difference to the cost of the roof. Same logic as it is with the Velux, whereas by the time you've omitted the tiles from under the Velux, you've ended up using that material for cuts around the window anyway. With a meter by a meter roof light such as this, you're going to be using the extra material around that. So the cost implication is not going to be, we say it's going to be negligible, not going to make a huge impact on this type of window. We can say if it's going to be plastered though, because that will be an extra sheet or two, and if it's going to be decorated. Set our joist centers, depth of skylight opening, so just got 30 centimeters at the moment. We can increase that if we've got a particularly thick flat roof. Time allowed to form openings and affix the skylight, and then your additional cost for fixings and sealants. Once we've done that, click finish. It's going to again select the flat roof line this is going to go on, so I'm going to zoom in, click on my red line, and then I'm going to place my window. Again, it's going to want to rotate, so I'm going to hold shift to keep that level. Not going to add any trimmers. Again, we've seen them just there. Now, once I've got that in, I'm going to go to my views and 3D preview, and take a look at my new dome. So we've got this in as opaque at the moment. You can see we've got an opaque escape hatch. If I was to go through that same process there again quickly, so Velux skylight, choose skylight, go electric opening with ventilation. We can have clear glass curved window or flat window. Let's go for curved. Just select that one there. Just a quick small 600 by 600. And place that just there. Look at this in 3D preview. And going to choose one last final design. Well, like I say, I could do a few more, but just for this. So I've only got space for one more. I'm going to go for this one here. Straight away, clear polycarbonate domed window. It's exactly what I need to show off. There we go. So you can see now we've also got the curved clear windows in there as well. Now we've seen them in the 3D preview. If bear one moment, I'm just going to open up the 3D photo visualizer. Let's let that load up now. So I just paused the video a moment there while I was just saving. So you can see there what was previously quite, say, a little bit jagged on the 3D preview is now looking very slick and smooth on the render. So I'm just going to give that a quick render so you can see them in higher definition. So as we go through there. So the options now for our roof lights and Velux windows are greatly expanded from 0 to quite a few. Now, if you don't have these roof lights in your PlansXpress, I'm seeing a question come in there, what you will want to do is make sure you've got the latest update installed. These are all coming through now in the latest updates, so they will be accessible for anyone with support and updates in place. You'll all be able to generate glorious domes such as these. Close that down. I'm going to save. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. I'm going to delete these out. I'm going to leave that one in there. I'm going to put two of these side by side. There we go. And I'm going to quickly just drop in some floor. Actually, I'll do the floor last, actually, so it stays out of the way. I'm going to grab an opening. That'd be a good start. Structural opening to existing wall, large opening. Set that as 5.5. Will that fit? No. There we go. 5 more though. So we've got a structural opening in there now. So traditionally, putting a big opening like that may require some hefty steelwork. And not just that, you're going to be having quite a lot of weight being borne on the ends of the steel into the walls below. Quite commonly, openings like these are appearing left, right, and centre, especially if you've got large, say, sets of doors, like bifold doors and such. Now, while the steels in here are being counted for as part of the structural opening, they can be adjusted to include some of the new steels that we've added into the software on the estimating side. But that doesn't cover things like the posts on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my openings and steelwork, and I'm going to go into the new steel beam and steel post pickers here. So I'm going to go to steel post. I'm going to go to select steel. As you can see now, straight off, if I just scroll through, I've got more than just some I-beams. I've got some circular hollow section. I've got some equal angles, flat plates, joists, parallel flange channel, rectangular hollow section, square hollow section. It's a regular cornucopia of bits of metal, unequal angle, universal beams, which are fairly familiar in the software, but are now much more easier to access. But I can quickly use a picker at the top here to make sure I've got the correct type of beam in place. So I'm going to go to a universal column. I can say that this needs to be 203 by 203, 46 kilogram. Well, let's go 52. Let's go the whole hog. There we go. There we go. Select that still. Set the height that still needs to be set to. Set my allowance for fabrication and connections. If there's pad stones required underneath the bottom of these. Packing for steelwork. Total number of hours for craftsmen to erect the steelwork and plant. And then if there's any noggins to the steels and such, if it's going to be painted and plastered. Once done, I can now place these on the drawing. So this is based much as it was before, replacing the steels. The big part of this now is the range available. That's within the software for us to use. Just placing it by eyeball there. Do as you want with those. So you can account for the beams down the side. You can also use the structural beams, which effectively goes to the same range of pickers, but just gives us the different calculator at the end. So I'm going to go to universal beam 102. Actually, what's the thinnest I can go? 76. There we go. So that one. Plaster required. Nope. I may not need to plaster any of this. May not need to be any noggins. So zero this out. Oh, remember not to lean on my spacebar. I do have a very fancy keyboard that unfortunately is impossible to touch type on because it's so sensitive. As soon as you brush the keys, it's registered the keystroke. So gonna just drop that in there and then run this across as the still there. Now, inadvertently, just in my opinion, it's not something that is kind of worked out, but using a combination of these, well, you can't exactly draw a still structure traditionally. It does give you enough variety of still work to effectively plot out a small still structure if you really needed to do so. There's quite a range of stills in there, so you can go quite far if you really wanted to. I can use the same tools again if I was to place a bifold door here and I needed to create, say, a set of goalpost stills around as well, and just kind of at least get a cost in for what that might be, either if I'm using this to get the cost for that to quote for, or just give myself an idea as to what to expect. I'm going to quickly pop in some bifolds. I'm going to go to the standard bifolds for these. That's windows, doors, bifold doors, just so I can drop them in there. There we go. And then I'm going to go get my floor. A regular shaped slab. I'm going to accept that one. Just going to hover my mouse in the middle of that room and press F just to fill that there. I'm going to insulate that because I'm not costing for this. I'm going to do the same again. Just going to do it over on this room over here. Hover over that space, press F to fill. Do a quick save of that. There you go, saved. Views in 3D, 3D preview. Let's see how this is looking now. Zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Okay, that's looking nice enough inside there. Yeah. I'm going to pop a Velux window in then quickly, Velux skylight, and then look at that again in 3D and render that from an inside view. Yes, the original still is still in the opening, so you could allocate new stills and draw them in, and then set the stills within the opening as not required. Or you can just go into the workbook or the estimating calculator for the structural opening once it's been imported, and set them to whatever still you want from that range. The range is visible in the price book, unlike some other pickers, just because we know that there are times when you just need to swap out an existing still for something else in there. Quite conveniently, they are listed in the sections as after their name, so you'll find universal beams under universal beams as the material type. Let's go for width. Let's go for the biggest one. Let's go it big. There we go. Save that. Use some views in 3D and Photo 3D Visualizer. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to zoom in on the inside here. Now I'm just going to right click on the floor, go edit material. I'm going to change the color. Now this is a tool as well that I do like to show people. I'm going to show you again. When you are in the Photo 3D Visualizer, it's not just a case of dragging textures in. So you could drag a wood flooring in there. That's actually quite nice, actually. I'm going to do it to the walls instead. I'm going to right click on that wall, go edit material, and while I've got the color there as well, which is currently blank, it's because it's pointing to a texture, which is, if I go to edit, saved in this file location. Okay, so we're going to do HPixel PlansXpress 5 textures, wall coverings. That's where default textures go to in PlansXpress. So you can always bung some extra textures in there. Or you can find a new texture. Go to desktop. Let's just grab the front slide PNG, shall we? Open that. Click OK. And there we go. I've started texturing the wall with my webinar slide. So if you've got a sample texture that you want to use, you can do so there. Let's go to the default texture again. Just so you can see where that's being stored to. And we can pick something equally horrendous from here as well. Ugh. Or we'll just be sensible and go to colors. Let's go to colors. Let's say this wall is being painted a light cyan. Actually, that's just as bad. What colours in fashion right now? I'm not going to go for... Actually, no, various shades of concrete are in. They are. Put the ceilings white, there we go. What I'm going to do as well is just going to put some a matte finish. So I'm going to go to matte finishes on the right hand side here, under the what looks like a bowling ball icon with the Windows symbol on it. I'm going to bring up matte brightness and just drag that in onto the floor just to tone that down a little bit. Because if I render that now, just darken right down because the light is no longer reflecting on it. So actually, well, I'll cancel that render. There you go, that's a bit nicer. And what I'll do is I'll come out, go to lighting. Yeah, it's sunny. Bring that on there. There we go. Let's see how that affects everything. There we got some lovely shadows on there now. Give that a quick render. So at that time I click the preview render because it's a little bit quicker than doing the full render. Depending on how fast your machine is as well, it can take a little while to run through. So there you go, so just getting a nice little view of what the inside of this room that we've designed is going to be like. If I come to the outside, do the same as well. Actually, before I do that, I'll show you another trick. If you grab flooring, we could go with, well, we'll get another irregular area of slab. I'm going to draw it this time. Just randomly drawing around, well, I just said randomly, just give myself a nice bit of perimeter and then close that off. If I do that there, I can go to my Photo 3D. Got myself some decking. So I've probably been better off using a different tool than what was in there because I've covered everything. But you can see how there now you can quickly drag on, I would say apply a tool and texture it to give you some outside view as well. And once you see if you're applying that over the top of a photograph, it can look quite snazzy. Another little trick is using something like short stud walls to form fencing. So there we go. Wait one moment. Right, let's close that down. I'll just save that there. What I do is I use a different tool for the internals, just so I can change them to different textures. So now I've got something a bit fancier there, showing up on the 3D. Are there any questions? Give you a moment there to drop them in. There should be a question box on your screen that you can just drop some questions in there. As you're doing that, I'm going to continue working with the new tools that have been added into the software. Actually, for the moment, I'm just going to pause my video 1 second and have a drink. There we go. So when drawing the roofline, is it the internal skin you work off? So when you're drawing the roofline, you can actually click any of the skins of the wall themselves. I use this as example because it's here. Now, it does work off the internal height of the wall, as far as I am aware from my own testing experience. So if I was to draw that in there, bring the 3D up so I can demonstrate, I might stretch that across. The internal skin is where the roof is going to be based on, and it cuts slightly on the external skin. When I kind of demonstrate this, I take a quick elevation. I'm not going to include the flat roof as part of this. So that wall there is 2600. Just going to explode that one there. I'm going to grab a construction line, hover over that corner there, press R for relative and up and go 2600. You'll see there where it's landed. If I was to grab a vertical, place it there and go R in 302.5, which is the thickness of the wall itself. We see that is where it's particularly landing there. So it's cutting off the outer brick. So that's a trick there as well you can use whenever trying to calculate where the roof is landing in particular. Yep, autofill. Just going to move that to the side a second because I want to keep using that one. So the autofill for the floor is available under the irregular shaped floor slab. Once you've got your slab settings confirmed, what you need to do is hover over the area and press F. Now, it only works if it can see a guaranteed 100% sealed area. If it doesn't see a 100% sealed area, it doesn't do it. That's more so it doesn't accidentally try and floor the entire drawing with concrete. Okay, so again, just quickly, once you've selected your irregular shaped floor slab, hover over the area, and as you'll see down the command window, give point start point or press F to fill space at mouse location. Requires an enclosed space, of which that is. There we go. And place that in. Okay, next question. When you choose a texture, do you select the area or does the software guess? So, when I'm choosing a texture in the estimator side, the plans side of things, I can do it across all areas by using the textures button under Views 3D to say all brick walls will be this texture, all internal walls will be this. So if I was to go to select file, and go stucco pink, there we go. Why that's in there, I don't know. 3D preview, I think it exists just so I can do this and everyone go, oh yeah, look at that, it's pink. Well, zoom right in. Yes, a horrendous shade of pink, but it does it universally across all sections. If I want to do something on an individual within the plan side of things, so I'm not touching the Photo 3D yet. If I was to highlight a wall, as I am doing here, and I went to the Properties Explorer over on the right hand side, if you don't see it, you can bring it up by clicking the Properties tick box here. And in here, there you'll see that there are some textures where I can override the internal and external. If I go to, actually not the external, I'll do the internal. Go select file and make that gold because I have no taste. Go in there, 3D preview, and again, zoom in and offend my eyes. It does make a wonderful example. So with that there now, you can choose textures that are in software. As I pointed out earlier on, you might want to rewind this later on if I do manage to get this up on YouTube. The texture is saved to a particular location. So that is program data textures. Now, that means you've got to save the texture to that location for the software to see it, which is, at the end of the day, not ideal, which is why when it comes to artifying, making things look perfect for the customer, we point you towards the Photo 3D because everything's just done then off a right click. So if I bring this up now, I can unfortunately see what my oh, it's remember. Oh, it's because I overrid the textures. That's why. Lovely. So yeah, it would come through with the horrific yellow and pink. But instead here I can now go right click on an item such as the floor here or the wall. Now I could copy one material, so if I've set this here, or if I've set the floor here to be this cobblestone work, I can right click, go copy that, and then paste it on that wall. So once I've done one, I can do several. There we go, there's a pink wall that I've not done. So I go material, copy, paste. Ugh. Why am I doing this to myself? There we go. Right. Let's render that horrific pink. Do something about that floor in a moment as well. So, texture adjusting on the fly. But say if you want to change that texture properly, you can right click on the material, go edit material. We'll say there's some other options there for, like say, cameras and such. But you go edit material, pick out a new material that you want to pick. In this case, it's gone to the set textures for Photo 3D. I can pick out something else. If I go upper level, pick floor. As such. So yeah, if you did want to do individuals, you can just right click on the plane. That's what it basically is all based on, the right click, and go edit material. So and it will be to the section you picked. Let's do. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Next question. Is there a course for PlansXpress like Estimator? Not currently. There's the design and estimating, or takeoff and estimating, sorry, which does some PlansXpress as its initial part. PlansXpress itself tends to be a lot more over your shoulder when it comes to training. So I'm going to see what you're doing. So for that one, you can do one-to-one online, or you can go to a group training session where you'd run through a drawing on the day with assistance on site. We can have someone come out to you. Apart from that, it's just generally making use of the resources available and giving us a call and support for when you're particularly stuck on something. Just generally down to the kind of nature of plans that everyone has something different to draw. Is there a list of the shortcut keys? I'm sure there is somewhere. When I find it, I'll let you know. Now, there is actually, it should be a list of the shortcut keys on the support website. Bear me a second, I'm just going to bring that up. So I'll go to the support website. Might be, you'll find some of it under the user guides. So things like the PlansXpress shortcut keys under the user guides there. There we go. And it's actually been updated to include the S key, which was a recent discovery of ours. Oh look, there's some our support messages coming up saying, can you send us a message? You too can use the support send us a message while we're away, and we will be greeted by that in the morning and get back to you after we've had a cup of coffee. Close that down for now, and then just close that. And there you go. So yeah, there's a list of shortcut keys. Okay, so lean-to roofs. Next question. Let's close this down. Now I can save that. I'm making absolute butchers of that 3D with all different sorts of textures. I might do the internal of that one using a completely different floor type instead of a slab. Right, let's close that down. So, lean-to roofs. Let's delete this. Select all lines for that roof. Delete. There we go. My noisy keyboard. Let's go to roofs. I'm going to bring my roof tool back up again. It's 30 degrees. Lean-to roof. Now the key thing to remember with a lean-to roof is once you've selected what's going on, first two clicks are the gable end. And the first click is the external corner. External corner, internal corner, length. You see there now? That's gone up against that edge. I'll look at my views in 3D preview. Ta-da! There we go. Very rather weird looking 30-degree roof. Wouldn't look so bad actually if I took this flat roof and kind of brought it in a little bit. So I go, select all lines for this roof. Let's go with that 200. That's a trick as well. If you've got the roof line selected, or any kind of roof line selected, or actually any line whatsoever, as long as you've got the blue box, if you left click on it once, instead of moving it around, you can use your arrow key to tell it to go in a direction by a set distance. Makes moving lines like that much nicer. There we go. It's practically a work of art now. So, if you've got more of a complicated shape with lean-to roofs, let's say, so I get this, select all lines for this roof. Let's bang that down. 4 meters, and that one down 4 meters. We can go back, PlansXpress cut roof, lean-to roof with hip end. You can use lean-to roof with hip ends to kind of form a little bit more of a complicated shape. Same principle applies, external corner, internal corner, and then where it's going up to. In this case, where it goes up to is going to be a flat edge, because it could be going to a wall, or, in this case, another roof. I end up with that. It's almost starting to look like something, kind of like the dining edition that they put on a pub. Poorly designed. Everything puts it kind of thrown in to give some light. Bit of patio outside. Usually that kind of weird steep pitched roof where it gives enough space for the landlords to live upstairs. Next question. Can you create sections and elevations to the drawing you've just done? So, first off, sections. There's a tab for that. Draw section. If I was to draw a section, I'd click the button to do so. First button says give start point. Click there. I'm going to hold shift to get a nice straight line, and then click the second point. Now it's going to keep going. So I'm going to move my mouse to an empty clear space and press E to end. Now the direction I've done my flat roof has kind of landed me just there. Okay, so kind of down a little pitch. This is not kind of a detailed elevation as you'd get with something like this. This exists to give you a framework to start using these tools. There you go. There's some pre-made ones there for you. This is just how I'd go about doing some of these. That is completely inside out. I do realise that. So you'd use the sections tool to give you your framework for your section, and then you can continue on to start building that out as you need it. As example, I did use that one in reverse, so I'd go to brick and block cavity wall. You see they're all pointing in the same direction. Da, 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 da. 30°. 1 second. Now, once I was to set that elevation, like I say, that angle, if I want to flip it the other way, just mirror that. Let's create the other side. And I have a very small house. If I latch them together, I'll go move. Made myself a shed. So you can use the rotate and mirror tools to create the other side of things as well. But the general principle is, even with these as well, you can explode these to break them down to their component parts, because you may not need. So that there's a roof section now. Tear that off, put that back, take all these, modify selection, explode again. I could just remove the insulation. Taking the plasterboard with it. There you go. I need the plasterboard. So those exist to allow you to kind of build up, because while we can give you the tools to build up a section, not everything's going to be built the same, and you might want to specify in a little bit more detail. Sometimes I use these and then I break them down even further to kind of give me a even greater detail on how something is going to be constructed. The elevation side of things, again, the external view, so draw elevation. It's based on that wall there. Pull it out. Let's start again, actually. Lost my place. So draw elevation, base it on that wall. From that distance out to that distance in, encompass the build. Because I haven't gone all the way past deep enough. There we go. Broken my own rules of not going far enough in. There we go. Make sure I go past that point. I need to go past that ridge point there. There you go. And I've gone far enough in now so I can actually see these. Where it's picking up this here as well, going past. If you do want to adjust these, just explode. You've got the lines then you can manipulate. As a point, if I go back, so it's a symbol again. While it is a symbol, if I was to do something like take that roof, select all roof lines and delete, I can highlight that symbol, bring out the mouse menu, and go recalculate elevation. There you go, and it's just doing it as the lean to it can see just there now. Okie dokie, so do we have some more questions? I'm going to give you a moment to think of something there to ask me. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Back in a moment. There we go, I'm back again. So, can the scale be set to things like A3 and whatnot there? Down here, on the bottom, it's set to A3, 1/50 currently. If I was to left click on that, I can change this to be A2, if I wanted to. Page size change there. I can go here and go back and change the scale to 1:25. There you go. Now it's too big for the draw. Go back there. Go. A1. That works out fine. So you can change the page size and scale down at the bottom. You will find that if you change certain page sizes and scales, the borders that come with the software may not match. There are ways to just use the scaling tool to bring them up to match. I did actually a video about that, whereas if you wanted to create a template with your own company logo, once you've set the page size, that's how you want it, and your logo, how you want it to appear, you just go to the menu up here and go save as template, and it's there ready for you to use next time. Do that again. Wait, exploded, and then went back to simple, please. Do that again. So draw elevation. Oh, sorry, making a noise there. I'm going to select that wall. I'm going to view from all the way back here. I'm going to view to the depth, past that roof there. I'm going to go as wide as over here, and then wide as over here, to make sure I encompass everything. If I don't go far enough, it won't draw it. Pick my reference point, and then click. So it's got no levels on there currently, so it's not even going to ask me about do I want to draw for all levels. While that is as such, if I was to come in here now and go, I don't want any of this, be gone. I can click on that, bring it to the menu, in this case right click for me, it may be right click or middle mouse click for you, and then just go oh, actually it won't actually, because I deleted my point where I've based my elevation off of. Not smart. There you go, let's delete this bit. Yeah, because I based my elevation off that bit. So if I deleted it, it's going to have to recalc. There we go. Recalc. But you can only recalc while it's unexploded. If you want to explode it, you highlight it. Now, usually if you highlight something and it's just that single item highlighted, you get a little bonus tab at the top. In this case, symbol, and it gives me the tools available for adjusting this symbol, be it scale. I could just do something silly like that. Now, stretch it out. We'll make it half size. Now, I will say, if you do use the scale tool and set things to 0.5 to set the scale as half of what it's supposed to be, next time you draw a symbol, it'll probably pick up the scale as half as well. So I generally just use the scale tool afterwards to do that. But you can use this to rotate for a fancy 45 degrees, or you built on a hill and you forgot to account for the fact it's on a hill. On its side, you're going to do those sets of plans where there's no room to fit everything in, so you kind of rotate things by 90 degrees to get them on. But once you've got that there, if you've got, say, a couple of other things highlighted, you do need to go to the Modify and Selection tab, in which you'll see the Explode button in there as well. Right, I need to make a video for that. Bay window in brickwork. Now, the bay windows in brickwork, there is a trick to that. Let's grab an additional one there. I've done that in two sections because I'm going to split that apart in a moment. I'm going to quickly grab a circular structure line. There we go. That gives me something to framework with. Now, when it comes to doing the brickwork from these, I've learnt that it's actually easier to use a single skin, so multi-leaf brick wall. Reason being, so I can then use a internal single skin wall with no footings or foundations attached. Oh, I need to go the other way. not exactly ideally done on this one. I'm kind of rough-handing it. Nope, that's completely wrong. You will do this much better than I will, because you're going to spend some time on this. But the reason I do that is that when I go to place my windows, standard windows, PVCU 600, I'm going to set my reveal depth as 0. Reason being, I'm putting this in a single skin. Wow, what a guess. Haha. You'd have thought I'd have practiced that. Oh, 3 out of 5. So, we'll see that in 3D. Just have to scroll over to it. So with that, I'd actually make that internal, these internal ones. When I go to draw them originally. Again, it's actually easier to tab through the things instead of clicking on that on purpose. It won't fit still. Come on. It is almost a success story. Didn't really measure any of that, but there you go. So that's how I would go about achieving that. It does leave you a little bit of brickwork showing, but you can get them quite close together if you are drawing quite tightly. The reason I do that is if you try and do it with a brick wall like this, I'm just going to right click and go draw using this specification. There you go. While it looks like you've got space to draw a window out there, if I go drawing annotation, you've actually only got that distance, not other distance. I can't offset on that. Perpendicular. There we go. Move that. There we go. Magic. Now, yeah, you've actually only got that distance because they try and place between those 2 points, so you end up missing out quite a significant chunk just here. Okay, so I use the single skin walls basically just to allow me to trick my way around it, but I do tend to kind of plot out a little bit better than my quick hashed out attempt at doing that there. Let's see if I can get that window in there. Go like that. Draw using the specification. No, still no success. Wonder where that is. Draw linear dimension. Inside corner. 562. There we go. That'd be why. Now, that kind of segues into the next question, which is, can measurements be etc. be added to create a working drawing? Yes. As you just seen me do there, linear dimension, click 2 points, give measurement. If you want to do that en masse, for external walls, let's say, I can click on that wall with the left mouse button, bring on my mouse menu, and just go dimension, and then just pull away to have the dimensions drawn for each of those items without having to do them manually. Labor-saving tools, my favourite. The less I have to do, the better. So I can also do, say, chain dimensions and multi-point dimensions, but in general, linear dimension and the odd angular dimension will be what you use the most. Example of using angular dimension, by the way, I'll use this roof over here. I can just play stupid for a moment. It's not hard for myself. I have much experience, so I'm going to highlight that elevation. I'm going to explode it. There we go. So it's individual parts. And I can ask myself, what is that angle? It could be 30 degrees. It could be 35. It could be 50. I don't know. It could be a little bit dim today. I'm going to go to horizontal. Place a horizontal construction line on there. I could do it down here, but it just gives me a nice, clean, little, cute angle there. I can go to my angular dimension. I can give first point, internal point, and then I can just give my third point. Ah, it's 40 degrees. What do you know? So that's the trick. I'll show you again on that one. Bring it up, angular dim. Point away from the intersection of the acute angle. Second click is on the point, and then we come around here. Now, as you can see there, if I come to the south of that line, it starts measuring all around, like it's some kind of obtuse angle. I'm using math terms. It must be a... I don't know, I'm taxing myself there. But if I come into the inside, I've got my acute, and I can measure to that corner there. If I was to do the angular dim and start up here on the top section and come down to the bottom, it wouldn't matter which way I was doing that, because it's just wrong. My angle's not 320. It measures in a certain direction when it comes to this. Okay. If you had an angle going the other way, let's go. There you go. Some random angles. We can remember to use angular dimension and then start on that top corner and go down. Okay, so it's always kind of like anti-clockwise dimension. Okay, so that's those questions cleared. So just a little recap, because we've done an hour now. I'm sure everyone's bored of listening to me. So quick recap: new features in the software for the latest update for those of you who haven't got it yet, or those that are possibly interested in getting support back in place to make use of these, or those that just say have got the update and just wondering how to use them. New roof light tools. Under roof lights, you draw your flat roof as normal, and then you select a roof light of the dimension and style that you wish using the picker, and then you select the roof, flat roof it's going into, place it. Nice and straightforward. The tool also has an impact on estimator in that there is no longer really used the flat roof with roof light estimating calculator. It's just now a straightforward flat roof workbooks, which by any chance, even as a plans webinar talk estimator anyway, now have the options via mini spec to select EDPM, torch on, which is the original, but actually has a named material. Let's say single ply, what's that same thing? A GRP. Basically, a nice range of flat roofing materials can go in there now. And the roof lights are kept separate, very much as mentioned previously, in the vein of the existing Velux roof lights. So they're just items applied to a roof, not integrated into it, into the workbook. Okay. And then we have the steel pickers, which is another incredibly useful thing there. So steel beams and steel posts. Both, say, all these calculators much requested by users, and we do listen when you guys ask for something. Apologies if it doesn't materialize straight away, but unfortunately with the building industry, there's always something to be worked on, and people don't like to leave existing building methods alone, so we have to make sure that the stuff that's in there already stays current. But we do make efforts to make sure that we get those requests sorted. So new steel beams, new steel posts. Right, before we end this, is there any more questions? Give everyone a quick chance to fire anything over this way for me. This is your opportunity to give me a bit of a brain teaser. This is why I'm not doing the webcam, because you just see me make strange faces as I try and figure it out. Right. Oh, excellent. No, thanks, guys. There. So more than happy to answer some questions. I think what I really do enjoy about these webinars is the actual Q&A session at the end. It's great to it's almost like a test. Glut of a punishment. Yeah, it's good to have because questions coming in from everyone, because say one question from one person is something someone else may really benefit from, but they just haven't thought of themselves. So it's good to have you lot all together as a group. So everyone benefits from everyone else's questions. Oh, just in there at the last minute. Ooh, adding a kitchen. You can drop symbols in. We've got plans for some more kitchen items to go in, especially if it's like 3D West, because we're always trying to expand what's going in there. But as far as kitchen goes, you've got non-estimated symbols to kind of illustrate the kitchen itself, but you can add in the plumbing and the electricals for it, so you can get in the kitchen taps to cost for them. But apart from that, it is very much a sim exercise in placing symbols. Give you an example of what that means. Top down. So we got the grab a unit actually. Oh, look at that. That's designed to measure almost. So you sat at the units and illustrate from above. The non-estimated symbols are exactly as they say on the tin, non-estimated, but the items, so basically anything that's here, all this lot, don't go for a estimator. Only items on the architectural. So that'll be going to the plumbing and adding in, say, the kitchen taps, so sanitary ware, waste connections, pipe connections, those kind of things will go through to estimator. When it comes to the actual kitchen itself, there is a fitted kitchen workbook within PlansXpress, or estimating calculator, but it's best used as just to get some bits out of there and then add the kitchen itself as a subcontract quote or provisional sum, as you most likely going to be buying it as a whole unit, unless you're like me and you like to build them from scratch. When I insert the kitchen and plumbing electrics to use a different level. Now, you can put them on the working drawing. Handle it. If I was to, as example, go to plumbing and drop a kitchen tap in there. Right, let's just place it there, in the middle of nowhere, floating. If I go to my views in 3D, go to my views here, I go plumbing layout. There you go, hides everything. All items. What level is that on? Ah, it's on kitchen furniture, that's why. Set that to... Well, things go to their levels. You can hide items you don't want to create the layout that you want to produce. Sometimes if you want to do it kind of a dedicated plan for plumbing, you could take a copy of drawing and edit that, hide the levels, delete items you don't want, have it on a separate plan. But generally, if it's all going to go in for estimating, just hide the levels you don't want visible when you produce your layout. Using the layers tool. So I can go find the fleur. Find the fleur. Hide that. Then you can go forward and keep adding or hiding items until you just got the plumbing items left and the walls on their own. Adding first floor. So let's delete this these roof sections. Let's just pretend this is going to be going over that way. First off, I'm going to just get these lines here, place that there. I'm going to add a 2 more gap. Where's that wobbling? Oh, there's a USB cable underneath the keyboard. I wonder what's wobbling. Now you may wonder why I've placed it on the line. Oh, sorry, whistling. And then click on it again and do 2 mil that way. Generally, it's because I don't want that roof line sitting on top of that wall, because it will cut that wall off on the 3D. So to do the mythical first floor, we shall go to Views in 3D. We shall go to the Levels button. Now I know that this wall here is 2600, so my wall height is 2600. Base height is 0 because that's where it's starting from. Level number 1. Click OK. Then I'm going to pick a corner. That's called the reference point. That's going to be the same all the way through. If it's not going to be able to say all the way through, it makes it a little bit harder to kind of guess where the levels go. But you can use construction lines to reference out. Once I've clicked my reference point, it wants to know a box. So I'm going to click over here, off to the left and up a bit, clear of the drawing. Click once, bring my mouse down here and create a border clear of the drawing and place that there. Okay, it's important because when you do the 3D level, it'll only show things inside the level. If I was to go grab this box here and drag it back here, you'll see it's not grabbing half the stuff because there's half the stuff there not for it to see. Now it's just abstract art. See that one crop over now and then? Always make sure your 3D box goes around. Next step, we click on the box. Step after that, we right click on the box, or middle mouse click, bring up the menu. So left click, menu click. Once you've got that box highlighted, we use the copy selection here. Now the copy selection on the levels is a little bit more intelligent than just a copy paste. Because what it would do is once I pick a point to copy, so there, and I place this over here, out of the way, it gives me the copy plan options. So base height, 2600, the height of our walls previously, or the height of our levels previously. It will increase as you create more levels because it's always the sum total of the levels below. Our wall height for this one is going to be 2400, and it's going to actually adjust the wall height here down as well. It will automatically remove foundations and footings. That's great, but there's none there anyway. and it also gives us an option to copy the external and internal walls and doors, windows, and openings. If there's none in there, we won't copy them. Click OK, and it's gone and grabbed the whole lot. If I look on that on the 3D, what a weird mess. So what I do is just grab the bits I don't want, highlight, delete. There we go. And I can put a little roof on that. Oh, I don't want to lean too roof on that. That'll look horrible. What kind of architect am I? There we go. Stuck like pancakes. Now, another important thing, well, I say important, newish feature. If I click on the 3D level, compared to the old versions, there's now options for this. We can move the reference point in case you've kind of placed it in the wrong place and it all looks a bit weird and things are kind of a, well, I'll show you. There's some of you have called in with stuff like that. Let's talk about moving that reference point. So, highlight, move reference point on the corner. Lovely. The other thing you'll find is that when you've got that box selected, there's an IntelliTrace. The IntelliTrace, when ticked, shows us what's on the levels below. This is particularly useful when trying to line up things like doors and windows that might have been removed, or more importantly, placing a floor, say your first floor timber floor, and you want to know where the walls were so you can make sure that your timbers aren't hanging precariously over nothingness. Quite useful. Saves having to copy the whole floor and then draw the floors and then delete the walls. You can just delete everything and then use the IntelliTrace just to go, oh right, well this is kind of like, this is the penciled out shadow of what's below you. So you've got something to work with. So that was a 2019 feature. Right. So, any other questions? Because I've got a coffee now, so I want to drink that. And I also bought 5 litres of beer. That also needs drinking at some point. So, yes, any more questions? Give you 30 seconds. If nothing in there, I shall end the webinar. No, I am home. I am home. Yeah. That's okay. Well, yeah, thank you all for attending. Hopefully I've been making sense for you all and you've got something out of this. As always, I hope you learned something. And if you've got any questions that come to mind afterwards, drop us an email, support@hbxl.co.uk, or give us a call on 0117 916 7899. If I don't speak to you guys soon, I wish you say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's December. I can start saying that now. Good night.